What's up? Howdy, everyone. Um, just typing up something really quick. But for those who are joining, what's up? For the last 30 days, I've been doing a fundraiser for a short film that I'm shooting on March 1st and 2nd. If you have heard me do this spiel, thanks for hearing it another time. My budget for the film is $25,000. So the last 30 days, I've been fundraising those $25,000 through Seed and Spark, which is a platform for filmmakers, primarily in independent cinema. The last 30 days, I've managed to get halfway through my goal, but I'm still a pretty significant amount away. So for the next hour or so, I'll be here and just reminding folks who come in that instead of buying a latte at Starbucks, you should donate $5-10 to my short film. My link is on my profile. In a few moments, I'll have my producer, who has been the greatest, join me. Now. But yeah, hello to everyone who's joining. It's good to see so many. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Stressed.
Yeah. Same.
Stressed, drinking Red Bull, drinking coffee.
Yes.
But, I'm doing well. I'm really proud of where we gotten.
Honestly, me too. Me too. It's been very crazy, but I think we're doing good.
I think so too. I'm in that phase where I'm just ready to shoot emails at the heads of production companies in Hollywood.
Wow.
I was talking to my roommate Martin, and he was saying that a lot of the filmmakers today just hit up the people that were above them then, and were fortunate enough to be supported by the Steven Spielbergs. So I'm just looking up my Steven Spielbergs, like J.J. Abrams, Drew Barrymore,
Right.
all these people that were part of the film and television that I was watching growing up, and seeing if any of them are down to support Loser. And for anyone watching who might be joining us, the last 30 days I've been fundraising for my directorial short film. It's called Loser. It's 10 minutes, and it centers on a queer brown person in a toxic relationship. Him and his partner go on a weekend getaway to Big Bear, and to their surprise, they get snowed in. So Demo, the main character, has to go on his search for snow chains to get down the mountain. And while he's on his search for snow chains, he basically ends up in a burglary gone wrong, kind of like Fargo, that completely just upends his life and makes him think like, I'm in this toxic relationship and maybe I don't have to be. And so it's a really exciting story with kind of like a unexpected twist in the middle. But I also think that it's just relatable. I think a lot of us in our first relationships, we don't really know what it's like. This is our first time being in a romantic space, and you get really, really exciting and overwhelmed. And sometimes the red flags of this is not the person you're supposed to be with are there. But because you've never experienced anything else, you don't know that you deserve better, or maybe that you need to get out of this. And so for me, this is an example of that, of something that feels so great and beautiful, and there is a lot of love there. But the red flags are there, and sometimes it takes something to finally push you out of that relationship.
Yeah.
Eliza, for folks who don't know Eliza, do you mind telling
Yeah.
us
Of
about you?
course. My name's Eliza Bruger. I am a screenwriter, director, producer, editor, Hollywood. I have produced like 3 or 4 short films, but I'm usually pretty picky about the films I produce just because producing is so much work. Um, but our cinematographer sent me the script for this and asked if I'd be interested in producing, and the script is so good. I think it's like the perfect combination in a short film where it's like about something super real and relatable, but also very exciting. And tonally, it's right up my alley too. So it's been super cool to work with Raymond because I don't know if I've ever met another filmmaker whose taste aligns so much with mine. Like we've had so many moments where we're like, oh, we're obsessed with the same composer. Hashtag Mika Levy.
Yes.
Hit us up. um, and yeah, I don't know. It's just been like a really cool collaboration, and honestly, like a treat to produce this. So I
Yeah,
really hope that we can reach our goals so that we can actually do it.
I know that part. Yeah. The reason we're doing basically, we need a lot of help with the financing. So if you're watching this, or you know a rich friend, or you know someone who's, not crazy enough to join the arts, but is a doctor, a lawyer, uh, something out there in the real world, tell them to donate to the arts now more than ever. Like, we need stories that connect us. We need stories that center people who are underrepresented, marginalized. And at the end of the day, we're also just telling good stories. Like,
Yeah.
we're wanting to first and foremost entertain the people that watch this film. And I think that along the ride, you may or may not also connect with it. You may or may not also um, gain empathy for someone you may not be best with yet. Um, I also just wanted to say, like, it's been a pleasure working with Eliza, and I think the fact that Eliza is also a filmmaker is super great because this is my first time directing outside of academia without the bumpers, and I'm just kind of full out going. So it's nice to be um, collaborating with somebody who's done the directing thing and now on the other side is able to kind of speak to both sides of it. And also just at this in this moment, I just want to say thank you. I really
Aw,
appreciate you.
thank you. I'm so glad to have been a part of it so far. It's been super lovely. I feel like with when you're, making short films and just kind of working with low budget stuff, you end up doing a lot of producing as a director on your own anyway. And so it's been really nice to get to do just one role and really get to do it well rather than sort of like splitting myself a million directions. And it's funny because I feel like producing is such a cool role because you really are like supporting um, uh, a story and supporting a director. And I really love the story, and Raymond's cool, and so it's been a very very cool experience so far. So
Thank you. I just wanted to shout out a couple people who've donated. So right before we got on, one of my friends, Cesar, donated $100. Thank you, Cesar. I appreciate you. And then a couple minutes ago, one of my fraternity brothers, um, shout out to Odify, Dom, thank you. I appreciate you. And then also other artists within the industry, good friends of mine, Logan and Andio, donated $50 as well. I appreciate y'all. Um, and for everyone watching, thank you so much. If you've already been spammed by me, thank you for joining and just want to say hello. I see you, Trumpet Poppy. And also, we got another $40 donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. I also I haven't been reading whether those people were supposed to be anonymous or not. So my bad, but thank you to everyone who donated. Um, hey, how's it going? Um, but yeah, for anyone who's just joining in, this is my first short film. I'm really excited. I directed a ton in undergrad. I attended UT Austin. I graduated in 2014 with a bachelor's in business administration within the business school, and then a bachelor's of science in the comm school. So my focus was like a lot of stats and then also a lot of art stuff. And then I moved out to LA about 11 years ago now. Worked a ton of odd jobs, some in the industry, some more in accounting. And in 2017, I attended AFI, which is one of the top film programs in the world, where I got my MFA in screenwriting. I graduated in 2019 and then was fortunate enough to work with Moises Zamora, who was my boss on Selena, and I worked with him on season 2 along with 10 other awesome folks in the room. And then after that, a few really big things happened: the pandemic, the writer's strike, and these wildfires that thankfully are out. It's raining right now in LA, which is great. For the most part, there's now flood warnings. But all to say that there's been a lot of changes, like monumental in the industry, as well as like big things happening in LA that really slowed down the industry, slowed down the city. So it's been just that much more difficult to get work done and to get hired and for projects to get greenlit. So it's made it that much more important. Um, and I think also just made me that much more aware that like sometimes the industry is about waiting and time will just like run away from you so quick. And it really reminded me that the other part of it is we just got to create. And so a big part of me wanting to finally direct my first short outside of academia is being like, I can't wait anymore. Life is not promised. No one's calling my phone, saying you're hired. So I just want to come back swinging for when the next opportunity comes and be like, here's my short film under my belt. I went and did it. I did it with a great team of artists in front and behind the camera. And so for me, that's like another big part and excitement in wanting to make Loser happen.
Yeah. I think it's crazy, like, because we decided to do this crowdfunding campaign, pretty quickly after the fires, and we were really concerned about it, about being insensitive to everything that's going on. And we did hold off quite a bit, but um, in our conversations, we talked a lot about Los Angeles and how if there's a place where it's actually quite helpful to have a production going. It's Los Angeles, and there's a lot of artists who, the industry is really taking a hit right now. So people are not making so much stuff. So it's good for, I think, our community, and for like considering how rough the state of the world is, to make something that will have to make anything that people can work on, and then also to make something that has relevance.
Absolutely. And what's cool is, much to what you're saying, like Big Bears within our LA area. So almost all of our crew is from LA, all hungry to work on projects. From our cinematographer to all the way through post, our editor, a lot of the crew that we're hiring to work on set is from LA. So we'll be making the trek up there all together. Um, Eliza, do you want to talk a little bit about our cinematographer?
Yeah, sure, sure. So, Andres Elorcino is our cinematographer. He is from Mexico, Mexico City. He went to AFI as well, for cinematography. Um, and he has shot stuff that's been on HBO, Amazon Prime, Disney, Hulu, you name it. He had a horror film that had a theatrical release. So yeah, he's got a lot of cool things under his belt, but mostly I would say he has a really, really good uh, sense for storytelling, and what a good story is. Because I think you two met, just because you like posted something, right?
Yeah,
Over
so
at AFI.
yeah, I mean I think like so highly of AFI. AFI is such a great program for all disciplines. And then I go like the extra mile in saying that like the cinematographers from AFI are insane. Like they are trained not just creatively, but also the technical part of it too. So the people that come out of AFI cinematography program are just beasts. Like they're insane. So I had kind of reached out to the greater AFI community in one of our chats and was just saying that I was hungry for looking for a producer that might want to collaborate with a first time director. And out of a lot of the folks that I met, the cinematographer that snuck in was Andres, and we had coffee. And he's like, "No, you're not trying to like link up with a cinematographer, but I feel like we would vibe." And we ended up having such a great conversation about the stories that we want to create, about the stories that I wrote while at AFI, about the work that Andres has done since AFI, and just felt a lot of overlap. And we're just having a great time because I think the other thing too, being out in LA and like working with folks is like, we are creating art. A lot of us care about this, but it's also like the process should be fun. Like we are creating art, we are collaborating, and so I think when I noticed that like we were clicking, not just story wise, but also just like personality wise, I was like, this is cool. And then it ended up being through Andres that connected me with you. And he basically was like, I think you and Eliza will connect. I think y'all will vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but if nothing else, y'all will have another connection. And
Mm-hmm.
enough, I we met up for coffee, and I felt like, which is like my hope anytime I meet with somebody who's interested in working with me, is that they just get the story, like whatever skin in the game that they have, whether it's similar experience, whether it's investment in that collaborate. I just felt like you got it. We had a great conversation, and it's been such a great experience thus far. But yeah, that's how me and Andres connected.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
You joked about our shared love of um, Micah Levy.
Is it Micah or Mika? I actually don't
I
know.
never know how to say it. It's
Mm.
either Micah or Mika, but we geeked out because I think was it was it a video you showed me and you had her music in there?
Yeah, I used for my Seed and Spark campaign that I did for my thesis film. I um, used a Micah Levy song, and then also for that film, a lot of the temp music was their work, and so
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like watching it and I was sending an email to Eliza being like, not you using like Micah Mika Levy music in the Seed and Spark campaign.
Uh-huh.
And I think at the same time you were sending something back about Micah Levy. And
Yeah.
it was just really cute. And then it happened again last week because
Oh
uh
yeah.
quick sidebar. But our editor that we just brought on to the team, his name's Mario Andrew Fierro, editing alum from AFI as well. Um, and one of his first big gigs, like in the industry, was working with Cardi B. And so Eliza had just posted like a video, a post introducing Mario,
Mhm.
on our Instagram for Loser Short Film, and then normally I'll share it and I'll like add a song. And the song I put is my favorite Cardi B song, which is Be Careful.
Be careful, yeah.
Yeah. And then I posted it and then literally Eliza was like, that's my favorite Cardi B song. And I was like, of course.
Yeah,
Because of course.
of course. I almost posted it too, but then I was like, oh, it's too random. Does anybody even know this
Yeah.
song?
Um, but I love that. I feel like we're syncing up, we're linking.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for those who joined, thank you so much for joining. In short, this is a little telethon. We're just trying to get folks who may not have seen this on their feeds. I've been doing a crowdfunding campaign. Also, hi, Father. I've been doing a crowdfunding campaign for the last 30 days to raise $25,000, which is a lot of money, and we are now, on the last day. We're so close to the finish line, and yet we also need some help. So that's why we're on here. If you haven't donated and can donate, truly anything helps. $5, $10. If you're a little comfier, throw in 100, throw 200. If you know folks who want to support the arts and don't know how, indie film is a great way to do it. We are hiring other artists within the greater Los Angeles area. We're also hiring folks from other areas. I mean, that's the also the upside of like collaborating and creating in today's like technological world. One of my favorite, actually, that's not official, but it's been great because technically you can collaborate with folks around the world. So, like being able to have conversations with folks in posts um, from other states or even countries, it's been really really neat. And some of the other stuff that we have been really excited about is our casting process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have 5 characters in this script. Our main character's name is Themo. He's in this toxic relationship with this guy named Alex, and uh, they go up on the mountain in Big Bear for a weekend getaway. They get snowed in. Themo decides that he's going to go out and find snow chains so they can get back down the mountain. And when he does go on his search, he ends up in a burglary gone wrong that completely upends his life and makes him think, this guy Alex that I'm so madly in love with is also not good for me, and I need to recognize that the like expiration date on our relationship has finally happened. Um, and so it's a 10-minute short film, but on quite a journey with an unexpected like action set piece. Um, and so in that burglary, uh, he finds two people in the script. They're named Ponytail and Mittens, and I described them as kind of like the bumbling fools version of I'm blanking out on their names,
Bonnie
and
and
I've
Clyde.
been saying Bonnie and Clyde. Yes. So if Bonnie and Clyde didn't look so slick, and they lived in Big Bear, and they were a mess
Mm-hmm.
around the clock. This is them. And so I found my Bonnie and Clyde. I found my Ponytail and Mittens,
Yay.
and they are incredible. Eliza, you want to tell us a little bit about our Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah, so Ginny is somebody who I've worked with before, again, also on my thesis film. She was a one of the supporting actresses, and she's amazing to work with. And I think she's perfect for this short film because she has like a very natural humor to her. And when she was in my short film, like she did a lot of really, really, really great improv. And so I think that for this film, she'll be great because she's got that perfect combination of being sort of like dark and mysterious, but also funny. Um, and our mittens is Tyler Gossa, who we all were really excited to see audition because Tyler's an influencer and an author and a really lovely human. And I actually had been following him on Instagram for a while. And when he applied to audition, I was so surprised. I was like, I've seen his face before. And I was like, that can't be him. And it was. And I'm really excited because I don't follow that many influencers, but he's one who I do because he's such a lovely presence. He's hilarious, but also like a very gentle, sweet person. So it's been really fun to see him take on Mittens because I think that Mittens is quite different than his actual personality. Um, but it was a really fun audition process with the both of them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wasn't as familiar with Tyler's work, and so for me, what was really really neat, um, I saw his audition come in, and I saw that he had like a huge following, and I kind of just paid attention to what he submitted his self tape, and it just like pulled me in, and the sides that we gave him. I feel like he created a journey in those that really like lifted what was on the page even
Mhm.
more than where it was,
Yeah.
and that made me really excited to work with him. Then I saw all his videos, and it's really dope. Like I feel like people know him in this one way,
Mhm.
and this character really is going to completely different light. So I'm excited for folks to see that. And then what I loved about Jenny was just that like on paper the role of Ponytail can be very like demure and just like yeah,
Submissive.
submissive. But when Ginny came in, she came in like guns blazing, and it just really made this character so much more dynamic and
Mhm.
more bite than what was on the page. And I think for me, um, as a storyteller, like I am interested in flawed, complex, messy characters. I sure there'll be, a good guy or bad guy or whatever, but I'm not so interested in those labels as I humanizing and finding like the gray area, the where that morality is a little bit more murky. Uh,
Mhm.
and so for me, um, seeing these two play against each other excited because they kind of have a push and pull. Like, and I think in this story, which centers on Themo and Alex and how they're in a toxic relationship, I kind of show these two couples kind of both being in similar situations and how we make those relationships work or not. Um, and so just wanted to take also just a quick moment to thank both Morales' brothers for donating. I appreciate y'all. Um, y'all are always coming through for me, so just thanks again. And thanks for everyone who's been hopping and dropping by for a little bit. For those who are just joining us, my name is Raymond. I am the writer director of Loser, a 10-minute short film that I'm currently fundraising for Eden Spark. We are on day 30 of 31, and we're doing this telethon to raise funds. So if you have 5, 10, or more dollars to spare, the link's in the little chat area. I greatly appreciate it. With me is my producer, also a filmmaker. Their name's Eliza. And Eliza, can you tell me a little bit more about your filmmaking experience
Sure.
and your education and where you're from and how you got to LA?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm originally from Nebraska. It's a fun one to tell people because it's pretty random. But I moved to New York to go to school at Columbia to get my MFA in filmmaking from there. And then I moved to LA. Actually, it was during the pandemic. So my time in LA has been like total chaos from beginning to end to present. But hey, we're out here surviving. But it's been really cool. I really like Los Angeles. And what else? Yeah, so I kind of we were saying earlier that Raymond and I really click in terms of our taste, and a lot of my films are kind of in the same vein as Loser and some of other of Raymond's work. So I really like talking about connection and disconnection. Tonally, I like dark comedy and surrealism and drama, horror. I guess that's kind of everything. But yeah, uh, yeah, I think that's the meat and potatoes of my filmmaking, I would say.
Yeah, dope. Yeah, I do feel like we have a lot of overlapping stories that we gravitate towards. I I think for uh, this being like my first short film, the stuff that excites me as like a director, as just a writer,
Mhm.
is seeing movies like American Beauty, Sex Lies and Videotape. I remember when I was listing out like my top 10, and those came up. I was recognizing that I loved a lot of dramas centered on straight, white, men, and I was kind of like, that's interesting. Um, and I thought about it, and I was like, what is it that's like connecting me to this? And I realized that a lot of them were just not satisfied with where they were in their lives. They were repressed. Um, they felt stuck. A lot of things that I think growing up as a gay man, gay Mexican man, and but then as I like really started putting my directing hat on, I was like, those are the kinds of movies that I want to like write and direct. Um, Oftentimes, whenever I write characters that look like me, I'm always asked to like make it a life or death situation, and back at those movies, and that's not always the it the stakes are there, um, but it's not life or death. It just feels like life or death for the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and so I really want to be able to do like domestic dramas, like Sex Lies and Videotape, but have the characters look like me, look like my friends, just be a
Mm-hmm.
better reflection of the diversity that exists in the world around us. Um, and then I also just kind of want to share some of like it's a joke now, but like some of my favorite uh, diverse network television growing up was Grey's Anatomy, Desperate Housewives, or Lost. And people are like, that wasn't that diverse, but it was at the time.
Yeah.
And and for me, like first and foremost, the shows were always entertaining. Um, you know, have one, you know, what's the sex life of doctors like? Grey's Anatomy. What it's a murder mystery in suburbia, USA,
Mm-hmm.
for Housewives, or you know, what exactly is going on in this island that this plane crash goes on, which ends up being like sci-fi psychological question mark.
Mm-hmm.
But what was really neat was year after year in traditional network television, where we got to really welcome these characters week after week, year after year into our home. We really got to follow these characters and see how complex they were.
Mm-hmm.
But then also how simple their story could be that ended up becoming very, very relatable. Um, and I would say that like, you know, like just by watching episodes when the episode would end, depending on who I was watching it with, we would be able to have conversations about you know race or sexism or homophobia, Islamophobia, drug abuse, drug addiction, how your socioeconomic status affects your livelihood, and it's like these are conversations that sure, you can like open up on a Monday, but just by watching TV, they were happening organically, and those conversations were really really enlightening. Having those conversations with friends, having those conversations with my parents, my family, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that that was like the unique power of TV was, um, you know, ideally you're able to shed light on some of these things that happen around the world by focusing your story on, you know, sometimes underrepresented, sometimes marginalized communities. Um, and by doing so, like, really do have the ability to create empathy, to um, to create empathy, and I guess what I always try to remember as well is that they don't front load a lot of that. They sneak it in a very entertaining way. And
Mm-hmm.
so, similarly, I really feel like that's been like my for writing and directing is um, to have stories that something, but make it entertaining. Sneak it in a genre, sneak it in an action set
Yeah.
piece, because those are the TV shows, those are the movies that like I really really enjoyed growing up. So I just want to continue on what they built, but make it look a little like the communities around
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's super cool. Yeah, I feel like TV is a really I mean, when I was growing up, we only had like three TV stations. I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Um, but my mom was a piano teacher, and usually she would go to the piano students' houses. And so I would always tag along with her just so that I could go watch like fragmented episodes of different TV shows like The Sopranos and Nip Tuck and The L Word, you know, and like that's how I learned things I never would have learned. And so it's exciting to think. I mean, I guess it's less relevant now because of the internet, but but still, it's like it's cool to think that like what you're doing could be exposing stuff to people who have never been exposed to it before. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, what should we discuss next? Uh,
Well, I feel like one thing that you talk about a lot, like outside of just like the what we're doing um like with trying to make a film that shows people that look like you um in this like romantic situation, you also wanted to show like brown and black people in a snowscape, and I think that that's something that's um I don't know, very exciting. uh
yeah, definitely. Oh my God, yeah. So, um, well, I guess I'll talk a little bit about where the story came from,
yeah.
uh, which hopefully the inspirations are not looking, but
The eternal problem.
yeah. Um, but I went up to Big Bear um, while I was in a relationship with somebody, and it was kind of our both our first time going up. We ended up getting snowed in, so this like 3 day vacation ended up being like five. We kept extending it a day because the blizzard was happening,
Mhm.
and it dawned on us that like we had no experience driving in the snow. We didn't know how we were gonna get back down the mountain, and we were like, well, we can't keep calling in to work. We got to get down the mountain. Snow's not gonna stop. And I realized for the first time in my life that that snow really shuts me down. I grew up in Texas. I'm used to the heat, run miles in the heat, but the snow and the cold. I guess I just didn't realize that it's like I just get really uncomfortable and just excuse me in a state of like shock, I guess. And what happened was my partner at the time recognized what was going on and was just so like supportive and comforting. And he was like, we don't need to rush thing, like let's talk it out, like take a deep breath. We don't need to get down the mountain like right now, we'll figure it out. And it was just so healthy, and like a kind of like now it's like a north star of what kind of relationship dynamic I want to be in when I'm in a relationship again, is just someone who raises you up, who's like, we're in this together, as opposed to like, throwing you to the wolves, or being like, yes, it's snowing and now we're fighting. Uh, and so what I did was I was like, what if instead of this really great guy that I went up the mountain with, I went with someone who we just had zero problem solving skills together with, someone who we always bickered no matter how much we loved each other. And that's kind of how Lucer was born.
Mhm. Love
And
that.
then I was like heavily inspired uh, by Fargo. I've always really loved how it feels heightened and yet in other moments very grounded. And so, but just like that cast of idiosyncratic characters. And so once I figured out the story, I kept like closing my eyes and imagining like who are our main characters, who are we following, and what films outside of Fargo am I using as references. And I realized, I wanted it to be a brown or black character. And as I was looking films with brown or black leads in the snow, I was coming up short. I couldn't find any. With the exception of Fargo, the TV series, I couldn't find films set in snowy landscapes featuring black or brown characters. And so for me, I was just like, wow, like that's a huge absence in the film and TV canon. And how great would it be to fill that space with a great cast and just to think too like a brown or black person against the snow is just already inherent contrast and so that's kind of like a really big excitement for me just visually that I'd be able to kind of paint those pictures alongside Andres and the rest of our team.
Mhm.
uh, I think it's going to be really special, and I think just that part alone feels really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so excited to see how it looks. It's been really fun to do because we're currently location scouting. So it's been really so if anybody knows of any cabins in Big Bear, hit us up. But it's been fun to look at the locations and imagine the story taking place in these like really wooded areas, or sometimes the houses are on like big plains of snow. It's just yeah, it's very exciting. Um, Plus there's blood, so blood and snow is inherently interesting, you know. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Very excited.
Very excited. I am also excited to find our locations and lock
Yes.
them down. Um, one of the other, speaking of like locations and like going into production design, one of the things I'm super excited about is we recently announced that our production designer is Jamie Green.
Hmm.
And so a little bit more about me. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I grew up there. I was born in Glendora, but raised in San Antonio. And I attended Communications Arts High School, which was a public school magnet program centered on filmmaking, public speaking, media technologies, and Spanish. And we were part of this traditional high school, William Howard Taft High School. And I was a band geek. I played alto saxophone, I played baritone saxophone, I was drum major. And one of the people that I met my senior year, who was a freshman then, was Jamie Green. And she um, was a symbolist, and she's amazing. She's super talented. She's super smart. After she graduated from Taft, she went to UT Austin, where she got a degree in architecture. Shout out to the saxophone players in chat. And also born in Glendora, California. That's my mom. And she went to UT Austin, got her degree in architecture. She was an architect for a bit, and then she was just wanting more, something different, something that sparked her creative leaning side, and so she ended up bridging that with her love for production design. And so she comes with a lot of experience from television. She's worked on Westworld and Palm Royale, as well as a ton of other film and television projects. But what's really neat beyond all of that is that we met in San Antonio on the band practice field. And I'm like super duper excited, as I am with a lot of the folks that are coming onto this, with every person that's coming onto this project. Um, excited to collaborate with them, and in this case with Jamie, someone who I've known since like we were children. Like it's just really insane. It's such a small world. It's so special to have folks from San Antonio, especially that I like went to the same high school with, be out here doing the thing. So I'm really excited about having Jamie come on board. Um, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited to work with her. And it's always special when people from your past get to be a part of the film, or like worlds colliding, kind of, you know. It'll be so fun to see how you guys work together professionally after being friends for so long. It'll be really fun. And her work's amazing. I think I also saw she worked on High Potential, which is really blowing up right now. So we're very, very lucky to have her. I'm super psyched.
So, yeah, she's awesome. Um,
Yeah, and I think that our wardrobe person might be joining us soon too. So we'll see if she hops on.
Sweet.
I'm excited to work with her also. And our cast and crew are from all over the place, which is really fun. Our wardrobe person is from Argentina, um, so I don't know. I always like that. I always like that when you have a crew that's from all over the place. Everybody always brings their own sort of like specificity to the film, which I think makes it everybody connect with it more. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been great growing up because it's either folks that I with before, colleagues that I've become friends with over the last 11 years in LA, or it's, you know, folks Eliza's worked with before, folks that Andres has worked with before, and kind of just continuing to make this industry, which really does, the more time that you're out here, feel smaller and smaller. And so it's really, really great. Everyone comes like either with a personal connection or highly recommended with someone else on the crew. So it's really, really special. And also, shout out to Greg, who just donated to the campaign. Thank you so much, Greg. Appreciate it. For anyone that just joined us, we are doing a telethon for losers. It's losers because I'm doing a short film and it's called Loser. There you go. And if you haven't seen any of my little bits of advertisements or news on the project or reels or whatnot, the last 30 days, I have been fundraising to collect $25,000 in donations to do my directorial short film debut outside of academia. It's a 10-minute short. It's called Loser, and it follows a queer black-brown character named Demo, who, with his toxic boyfriend, goes on a weekend getaway to Big Bear. And when they get super snowed in, Demo decides he's going to go on the search for snow chains. And when he does, he ends up in a burglary gone wrong that completely just upends his life and makes him think, you know, I just almost lost my life. Now this toxic relationship that I'm in, I can get out. And I think it's going to be an exciting adventure, but it's also a relatable one. I feel like all of us have been in toxic relationships, whether that's with romantic partners, family, friends, coworkers, acquaintances, feeling so tied to somebody for whatever reason and being like, I know I got to get out of here, but I don't know how. I don't know what words to say, or maybe it's just not the right time. And so for Demo, this adventure up the mountain ends up being the time. He's like, okay, the expiration date on this has expired, and I need to get out of this. And so it's 10 minutes. It's $25,000 because it does cost a great amount of money to create a short film. And the cost of living in LA is crazy. Unfortunately, I'm only doing a 10-minute short. I'm not like providing the livelihood of artists, but I am helping pay these folks who are working on set for a 2-day shoot in Big Bear near LA. And I just want to make sure that everyone who works on the set, behind the scenes and in front of the camera, is paid fairly for their collaboration. And so what that looks like is ballpark around $25,000. And so if you're watching this live or catching the video after when I upload this, if you have $5, $10, $15, $50, $100 to spare, definitely donate. Our campaign is on Seed and Spark. We are less than 12 hours away, I believe, from when our campaign closes. It's $25,000. In order for me to collect any of the monies, I need to raise 80%. We're at 51%. So a big part of doing this telethon is to try to get us a lot closer to 80%. So 16 hours left. Thank you, Jocelyn. Yeah. What should we talk about next? What I
Man.
am I think so it's raining in LA, which is kind of great
Yeah.
because we just had a lot of wildfires. Now there are flash flood warnings. Um, but I think Mercedes Arturo, our costume designer, is not going to be able to join us, unfortunately. Um, but I think we could talk about our
Oh,
incentive.
yes.
Do you
Let's do it.
want to help me
Well,
out?
yeah, I'll start with the most exciting one, which is that we just added an incentive this last week. So if you donate $250, you can receive a painting of a still from a movie or a TV show that you like. So $250, tell us what movie or show you want, and we will paint you a still frame from that movie. Acrylic. So fancy.
Love. What's
Yes.
your top three favorite
What's
movies?
my top three favorite? Ooh, good question. I really love American Honey. That's a big one for me. Um, I love Y tu mamá también. That's a
Ooh,
huge,
that's a good one.
really good one. Yeah. Ooh. And then what else? I used to really love Beasts of the Southern Wild. That used to be one of my favorites, but I've watched it so many. It's one of those that like, I don't know. I've kind of outgrown it, I think. But yeah. Oof. I'll get back to you on the third one. What are your top three?
My top three, so my top 10 rotate, but my top three are
Mhm.
usually something like Pan's Labyrinth,
Mm, that's a good one.
um, Ex Machina.
Hmm.
I'm obsessed.
Good
Um,
one.
and then and the hours. I'm like a sucker for like Philip Glass's score.
Mm,
Every one of those white women are incredible. Uh,
yeah,
I probably watched it like close to 30 times now.
it's so
Um,
good.
yeah, I'm like a sucker for scores, so that one's
Hmm.
one of my favorites too.
It's really good. It's a really good one. Yeah. There's
Some,
this movie called Atlantics I really love. That's probably in my top.
what's it called?
Atlantics? Have you seen it?
I think I've heard the score to that. It's like a
Yes,
blue
probably.
poster.
Probably. I think so. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. The
It's
score for that is
so good.
incredible. The I've never seen
Oh
the
yeah.
film.
Yeah, check it out. It's really cool. It's about these sailors or these workers who are getting underpaid, and so they protest against their bosses. And in part of their protest, they like go on a boat trip and they get killed. And their ghosts come back and haunt their girlfriends to demand like to get what they set out to get. They like inhabit their girlfriends' bodies to continue their protest. It's very sick.
That
It's a ghost story.
uh,
Yeah.
that out. I love that, and I really love this notion of like spirits either like warning, like continuing, like uh, uh, I mean, obviously, like ghosts is supposed to be like unfinished business,
Hmm.
like culturally specific way or in like a political way. Really, uh,
Yeah.
my mom wants to know what's that. It's called Atlantic. Also, hi Ezra. Uh, so for those that are joining, if you don't know what our incentives are, so on Seed and Spark, um, which is our crowdfunding campaign, that's where we're raising all this money on. Um, Depending on what you donate, you also get an incentive that goes with it. So like for folks who've donated $15, which there's been many thank you to everyone who's donated. You receive a special shout out across social media platforms. For $25, we call it Where in the World. And since, as I've mentioned, this short film is heavily inspired by Fargo, we've been using the world of Fargo, both the movie and the TV show, to kind of do like profiles on each person who's donated. So we match you with a character, and we shout you out. So we've had a lot of shouting out Fargo characters. Then $50, it's our blueprint. You'll get a portfolio with all of the pre-pro, production, post-production materials after the film has completed its festival circuit. And then for $100, as Eliza was saying, oh no, that's not what Eliza was saying. For $100, you'll get a poster of the film, which I'm excited to like find what that looks like.
Yeah, that'll be
I
fun.
imagine there'll be probably lots of
Lots of snow,
snow,
for
and it'll
sure.
probably be our lead. But I'm curious to see what that ends up being.
Yeah.
For $250, we called it our Paint Me Like One of Your French Girls. This is what Eliza was talking about.
Yes.
So there'll be a painting of a still frame from your favorite movie or TV show. And then there are two other incentives for $250, for $500. And then our big bad one, if you're like bad, is $1,000. And that gives you the fancy title of executive producer,
Yeah.
which is super dope, and of which we have two.
I think we have two, yeah. And a couple of maybe associate. Oh,
Exactly.
wow. Love it.
Which has been really, really incredible. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to keep that anonymous, but for those two that donated, I've said thank you. I'll probably say thank you a few more 100 times. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to mention.
Incentives, poster, more shout outs.
Huh. Poster, portfolio. I don't remember.
She gone.
Oh, yeah. So I guess down in the chat is the link to donate. So if you're here, I highly encourage you to share it. Share it with your friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, your Sancho, your bestie. Um, it's raining outside. People are going to stay in today instead of going out and dancing. That drink that you were going to go get, just donate it to Loser.
Yes.
And,
I'm
and
pretty sure that it's tax deductible to donate. I don't know if we've been pushing that enough, but I'm pretty sure it is.
noted.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Jocelyn saying, what's the timeline? What festivals do you want to get into?
Good question. I think that we're hoping to start submitting by early summer to festivals. Of course, a lot of that's going to depend on this crowdfunding campaign. But we are shooting March 1st and March 2nd. Our amazing editor is probably going to do a first pass pretty quickly so that we can submit to post-production grants. Because even after we make this money, we have to raise some more to finish it. But that we feel pretty confident about because we'll get to actually show what the film is, minus the tweaks, not tweaks, it's a huge part of it, the color and the sound and the score. So hopefully we'll finish that by, I would say, June and can start submitting to festivals by then. There's a lot of festivals I'm sure we'll submit to. I'm really hoping AFI will be a good one for us because so much of our cast and crew are AFI alum. So that's definitely one we'll submit to.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like the reason I'm so excited about the short film and the story that it has legs to go to some big ones.
For sure.
So I really, you know, depending on where we land, I'm hoping to send to some of the major festivals. And um, you know, growing up in Texas and also being out here in LA and being queer, there are also just like some festivals that feel like home,
Mm.
that I'd love to apply to as well, that feel a lot more based or more or even more like local.
Mm.
And so yeah, I'm keeping my options open and my uh, 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 what's the word? Options open, and also just like shooting for the stars.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, definitely.
I um, oh, I also got we got another
Woo.
donation. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. We so far have gotten one, two, three, four, five. We've gotten 6 donations. We are full 1% higher. Uh,
Hey.
if you're just joining us, please check out the link in the chat. Consider making a donation to Loser today. If uh, you know someone who wants to support the arts, tell them to support this film. It's a 10-minute short. We're shooting March 1st and 2nd on Big Bear Mountain, and we need these funds to make it happen. To be able to pay actors, our crew, as well as um, all the rest of the folks behind the camera, getting us into post. So uh, yeah. Um,
Another big thing that, I mean, I know this is like not as exciting of a thing that we're paying for, but I think we are people who are really trying to respect other people, and respect the work of our artist. And so a big chunk of our budget is going to lodging, um, so that our cast and crew can stay overnight, and not have to drive in the snow after being super tired. So even though it is making our budget more expensive and there are ways that we could cut corners, we don't want to do that because it's dangerous. And we are artists all working together, and want to be treated respectfully and treat each other respectfully. So that is another big part of where our budget's going.
yeah. Speaking of like safety and like wanting to take care of one another, um, you know, we have a stunt scene, so we on a stunt coordinator. We have intimate scene, so we bringing on an intimacy coordinator. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and again, a lot of these things cost money, so we're just making sure that we have the funds to pay these folks for them to be set to make sure that this gets shot
Yeah.
well and in a safe manner.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Cool.
Well, um, I feel like I know we're hitting the hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Eliza, I think you have to hop off.
Yes, but if you're staying for a little bit, I can stay a little bit. No problem.
Maybe another 10, 15 minutes,
Love it. Yes.
and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Um, Sweet, awesome. Well, let's see. If you've already donated and you've done service, feel free to share on your socials. Um, you know, oftentimes people just need a little nudge. Um, so if you post this and share this with your friends, family, coworkers, really, really helpful. We have literally 16 hours left until the deadline, so anything helps. $5 helps. I was doing the math. If every one of my, you know, followers on Instagram or friends on Facebook donated, we'd be in the clear.
Like $1,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
So, so truly, like $1 helps, $5 helps, anything you guys can. So thank you for those who have donated. We really, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it means a lot during these times because I know like things are economically pretty tough for everybody. Um, but again, I said this earlier that we live in a city full of people looking for work, and right now our industry is pretty tough. And so um, it's not just about making a short film, it's also about like creating a space for, like-minded artists who, have something important to say, do their work, and then also support us financially too, so that we can keep making more work.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, what scene are you most excited to shoot?
Mm, that's a good question. I've been so focused on the
Getting the money.
fundraising that I hadn't really thought about that. I am. Oh, shout out to Jocelyn. Jocelyn just pledged $150. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Jocelyn actually, quick sidebar,
Hmm.
hit me up yesterday and was just like, "Yo, this this campaign that you're doing," and now actually that is pushing us to almost $13,000. So
Ah, that's
y'all help us
great.
get there. Let's
Woo.
do this. Let's get to 52%.
Yes.
Um, yeah, yesterday we jumped on literally she pushed us to 52% and got us
Oh,
at $13,000. So
hell
thank
yeah.
you. I don't know why my laptop is so delayed.
Math's hard
That's
for
crazy. Thank
everybody.
you. But yeah, I mean, thanks, Jocelyn. Yeah, yesterday she was basically like, hey, I've done this a few handful of times,
Hmm.
successfully. Here's some advice, and one of the things that she said was jump on and go on Instagram Live and get folks to see that you're doing this, because oftentimes with a lot of the social media noise, this campaign can get lost
Yeah.
in all of it. So stuff like this really gets people's eyeballs. So Jocelyn, just thank you for the wisdom, the experience, the encouragement. It's been an exhausting 30 days.
Yes.
I've been sick since Saturday. I think it might be a little bit of stress.
Yes.
Um,
Definitely.
but it's moments, being able to talk story with Eliza, with the rest of the crew. It's phone calls like the phone call I had yesterday with Jocelyn, that really do just like re-energize me and honestly make me feel affirmed and um, that I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a lot of people behind you who are really excited to see this film, which has to feel good.
Definitely feels pretty dope.
Yeah.
Um, Also, hi to I think my bro Ruben just joined. What's up, Ruben? Um, if you haven't seen any of my posts, I'm basically on here trying to raise funds for my short film. It's called Loser. It's a 10-minute short. It's my first short film outside of academia. Um, I moved out to LA 11 years ago, wanting to write and direct. Um, and my first internship in Los Angeles, at a production company, I had a very interesting conversation with the SVP, and the SVP asked me what I wanted to do, and I was very honest. I was like, I want to write and direct film and TV, and I know now that like that question's so broad that when someone asks you that question in the industry, they want something very specific. They want to
Mhm.
know like what genre, what themes, what medium, etc. But when she said it, she didn't explain that, so it just sounded really harsh, and I felt really stupid for wanting to write and direct.
Mhm.
And so I misinterpreted what I think she was trying to get at. And the last 11 years, instead of writing and directing, I focused only on writing. Um, and now that 11 years have passed, I'm like, I came out here to write and direct. Um, and I feel like I've lost sight of that a little bit. And so this is me kind of just realigning with what I came out to do. And I feel like Loser is a story that I came up with maybe now like 3 4 years ago. It's been a while, and I feel like as a writer I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of them I have them and then I let them go. The ones that stick around for a while, I'm like, okay, there's a reason why they're still here. There's something I want to say, or there's a connection I have to the story that is more than just a quick idea. And so Loser is one that like over time it's marinated a lot more, and I feel like I do have something to say and that I'm excited to just like bring to life. So I'm really excited that it's my first short film, and I feel really good about the team that I'm bringing together to make it happen. Um, and yeah, and hello to the new folks that just jumped on. Um, Appreciate you listening. We are here trying to raise funds to get my short film made, produced. We've been fundraising for the last 30 days. Our goal is $25,000. In order to keep any of the pledges that have been made, we have to raise $20,000. We are short 7K, and the deadline is literally 15 hours from now. 15 hours and 54 minutes from now. So we're on here. If you've already donated, thank you so much. If you haven't donated, the link's down in the chat. It's pinned. Any amount helps, $5, $10, $15. If you can do more, that's great. If you have already donated, highly encourage you share the link with a friend, family member, colleague. Um, some of our biggest donors have been folks um, doing the other jobs in the real world, like doctors and nurses, and but we've also had a lot of great colleagues support us. And so yeah, any amount that you can give is greatly appreciated. Honestly, when we started this, I was freaking out that we chose $25,000, but it is the amount that we need to make the short film. And when we went forward, I was like, I'm not sure how we're gonna do it. And yet every day, someone surprises me, and we get a little bit further along in the journey. And so I'm really grateful. Every donation that I've received has been a little miracle, and so we are literally, um, I think, I think it shows like how, yeah, we are 170 miracles from when we started. So 170 people have donated to the campaign, and yeah, I feel really, really uh, grateful, in a state of gratitude. Our time is winding down, Eliza. Is there in these last 60-ish seconds anything that we haven't covered that we should say?
I don't think so. We talked about cast and crew, sort of our whole drive behind making this. How we're donating to this isn't just like getting a film made, it's helping support artists during a pretty tricky time in Los Angeles. Um, we're all fighting as hard as we can to make work, to keep the world entertained and focused and not go crazy with madness of the world. So, yeah, if I know pockets are tight, mine's tight too. But if you're able to share with somebody, uh, that's also super helpful. I know it feels like $5 isn't very much, but a lot of people have donated $5 and it's added up to a significant amount. So, yeah. And thank you so much to everyone who has. Like, it's been really fun to do this campaign because most of the community, I've got some of my community leaning in, but a lot of it is Raymond's. And so it's been really very cool to see, how much support and love you have coming your way from a lot of really what seems like great people. So
No,
yeah,
truly, yeah. Like, I mean, I was joking when we first started, but I was like, this is like a grassroots campaign with like a lot of folks who, oh, there we go, who are donating like $5, $10, $25, and within the 170 supporters of the campaign, like we have been able to get $13,000. It's an incredible amount. And but I was joking with Eliza that as I was like making all the points of the campaign, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like thinking about Bernie Sanders and how you always used to say that this is not about the 1%, but about the other people in the world, and that this is a grassroots campaign, and that 5, 10, 15, $25. And then I was like, this feels like an email that the Democratic Party or whatnot would send out to
yeah,
their to fundraise. Um, so it's been funny to be on the other side of that, but it's also been refreshing to actually see like just how many people um, want to champion the arts,
yeah,
believe in me, believe in the story. I really am thankful for those who have supported financially, and then also who just supported in general, whether that's been sharing, whether that's been um, giving advice, um, or just helping me out how they can. There also been, I guess, the last thing that I'll say before we jump off is there have been folks who are like, I can't donate money right now because things are so rough, just in general, both in LA and around the world. Um, but folks have offered, their support in time or in reading for me during our cast auditions. So just if you've helped in any sort of way the last 30 days, or just in my journey in the last 11 plus years of wanting to write and direct, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Um, just one last plug. We are raising funds for my short film. We have 15 hours and 54 minutes. We have left to raise $20,000. We're at 52%, and we're at $13,000. So if you can donate, great. If you can share this video with somebody, awesome. If they want to know a little bit more about the film, about where our process is, about the crew, um, just feel free to send this away. And it looks like we got another donation. So shout out to shout out to Martin. Thank you,
oh,
Martin.
Martine.
I appreciate it. And it looks it looks like Lupe also donated some money. Thank you, Lupe. Appreciate it. We have another $100 with those 3 donations
Amazing.
added to our campaign. With that said, thank you, Eliza. I appreciate
Yeah,
you,
of
and
course.
I will see all of y'all soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Ray.
Bye.